My first album, The Essence, I would describe it as a bit of a lost classic.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Yungun, aka Essa.
It's been 20 years, I've been told. I don't believe it.
20-year anniversary, quite a mind-blowing thing.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Essence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Welcome to the house that the Essa made. Yeah. You're now in tune to the sounds of the escapade. Woo. You don't dig it, then just allow me and step away. But if you're with it, then allow me to demonstrate.
The standout points on that album are standout points in history of British hip-hop.
I think it needs to be held up very high.
It stands up with any album from that era.
Stick it in your record crate, it'll give the set you play. Kick like the spirit in your lemonade, devastating to your ear, so keep clear. Deadly serenade, singing sweet, your weak tears. The banshee, heavyweight, bringing the stampede. Grenade flinging metal blade, swinging Apache.
The album never came out on vinyl.
There was no digital release, and it only was ever a CD.
I'm going to release the album again on its 20-year anniversary.
Are you ready?
I'm just happy a whole bunch of people are going to get to hear it for the first time now.
Dismiss the thing on the track, please. Relax, breathe easy, and listen to catch these words of wisdom. Yeah. I've got plenty in store, whether you're fans or you've never heard of Essa before. I guess this is all you need to know. When the skis is flowing, he's sick, bro, and this is only the intro, yeah.
Essence. I had a quick listen back to the album. I was thinking, yeah, like what song was I on? And then I realised I'm not on that album at all. So I started thinking, wait, why am I even here?
I can remember the first verse I ever wrote. I was doing music tech lessons at school. I was at boarding school, and I'd made a beat with a teacher at the school, and I wrote this verse to go with it. But that was just me messing around as a kid. I must have been about 13. But within a couple of years, I'd started to really, get heavily into writing raps.
We connected around about 1995 to a mutual friend who was at Nick's school. I was the best rapper in my school, and Nick was the best rapper in his school. And I started hearing his stuff, and I was like, wow, who the hell is this? We had very similar interests, we had similar rapping styles, and we just clicked.
And we formed a group called Duper Styles.
Duper Styles, with another rapper called Emming Moon.
We used to go to open mic nights and try our luck. We used to have a pirate radio show, and it was kind of house parties and rapping and just kind of messing around. There was this kind of quite uplifting spirit to it all. I started to take it much more seriously when I was trying to do it in front of other people.
I saw him perform with DEVISE, James. It was an interesting time in UK rap because the vast majority of us were useless.
It was just a lot of quite talented rappers who were putting no effort into their live shows at all. And we saw that and we just thought, people aren't preparing.
Everybody would cup, you still see rappers doing this now, like they cup the top of the mic like that, and you can't hear a fucking word they're saying.
We started just getting really creative about how we could present our music and make it fun and engaging and have little silly skits and just do things that were outside the box.
These two guys come on and they start doing, like Run DMC style back and forths. Every word of both of them is crystal clear.
We had a track called Battle Stations, which is where we start the track, we're both rapping, and then we start battling each other in the final verse. Things like that were just a bit different.
You could see from the crowd reaction, they just stood out a mile.
We had very kind of high aspirations and, we had a lot of fun doing it.
To actually make a real track was impossible then because we would just rap over instrumental. We'd buy 12 inches with an instrumental on the B-side and we put that on and just freestyle over that. But then friends of mine introduced me to Harry Love.
Studio time back then, it was oppressively expensive and no one had any money. You could record with Harry, he'd make the beat, and that was like gold dust.
I remember hearing Harry on Kiss FM in about 96, 7 and thinking, this guy's incredible. And Harry was 16 at the time. He was like a prodigy.
And they said, you've got to meet this kid. His beats sound like, you know, Tribe and Pete Rock and Wu-Tang. And I was like, no, they don't.
I met him and DEVISE, James, together. I didn't have the highest of hopes from given, you know, what I'd previously come in contact with, meeting rappers or whatever.
I went over and no word of a lie. I mean, his beats were and still are on the same level of quality as all of those heroes of hip-hop production.
I handed over the mic and the rest was a rap. Like, I was blown away. It was an immediate yes, let's go, let's do this.
It unlocked so many possibilities. It suddenly became like, wow, we can actually make songs instead of just messing around and freestyling. And so we did. We started making duper styles tunes.
The mash flex has more common with the doper style. Smoke a while and lace upon my back like a crocodile.
You mean a crocodile?
Yeah, I guess that'd be a proper style, but half these MCs haven't even got a
They're
style.
styleless, but still think they're the livest. Spineless rhymers get blocked like my sinus. Yo, it's me, of course, Young Gun's rhyme is poetry. I'm North London's finest.
I was experimenting with very basic equipment up until when I met Duper Styles. Getting first access to recording equipment, we've been allowed to use this basement studio that allowed to really hone my side of the craft. Not just like twiddling the dials and getting that side right, but actually how to work a song.
I had such a hunger for it, I ended up doing solo records as well. Like, I'd never really planned to, but I was always like, let's do this, let's do another thing. And like, others weren't necessarily moving as fast as me with that. So I ended up just doing more on my own, and it grew from there.
Both me and Nick didn't come from like the streets.
He carved another lane for this whole idea of what a rapper should be. There is space for an honourable gentleman to have a voice in hip-hop. That is the voice of Essa.
If you're not rapping about the street, then you've got to sort of think twice as hard about, like, well, how am I going to present myself?
He can do really technical battle rap and stuff like that.
He can do an ignorant club track. And then, you know, records like What I See and, you know, just incredible storytelling, painting pictures really with his words.
See, it goes, that's what I see. I said, that's what I see.
It was a real example of something that's become a big theme in my work, where I try and really express quite vulnerable, deeply introspective thoughts and feelings in a way that people can relate to.
I see this life like a game of risk. It's all about where you place your chips, and the aim is this: rise up through the snakes and the ladders, escape from the daggers being weighed by the adders, steer past the fakes and the blaggers, the bait ones that chatter in your face with blabber that doesn't matter.
By the time the album came out, I was living somewhere else. And I remember coming down to London. I was going through quite a tough time, and I had this sort of heartfelt verse that I'd been like working on, and it worked so well with what Nick had done previously.
Why is it that all I see is heartache? Why? And I start blaming everybody for the things I can't change. Why do I resort to needing class A's? Why? Like my heart's way of ensuring all I see is fast paced. Am I trying to bring about my last days? I can't say. My head and my heart part ways. I can't escape from these dark pathways. Haven't left my yard today, it's already 8:30.
It doesn't really matter what walk of life you're from. We all feel sometimes overwhelmed. And I think expressing that in a way that is real and human is a bit of relief for people. And writing it is therapy for me.
Everybody in the city with their hopes and dreams. TV dinners, remotes and screens, where the cars blow the smoke that streams out and chokes the trees, cause the dust overcoats their leaves, and the clouds and walls of the estates are grey. Kids are growing up fast without a space to play, so life becomes the game. Their childhood fades away. You see it happen on a day-to-day.
The reason why Young Gun stands out from a lot of people is because he's never in competition with anyone. He's always been in competition with himself.
The best thing about coming from our era is like copying someone's style. That was like death penalty shit. We grew up mastering our own individual styles. So a lot of the guys from back then still stand out.
You know, when there's people who have that natural talent, you know, the only way I can equate it to is like football. And I'd say, like, when it comes to likeEssa's pen, man, he's like Messi with it. You get me? It's just natural.
My approach to the craft of being an MC is deeply nerdy. I needed a way to remember the precise placing of the rhythm for each syllable. I came up with this annotation system with numbers to go with the vowels in the words to show me which part of the word lands on which beat of the bar.
This is the surefire, pure fire. You better burn more fire. I spit fire like Second World War fighters. Inferno to purge all ciphers. I burnt more rhymers than STD virus. Do my best to be righteous, never preach violence. Never. But the next to be testing me might just breathe the last breath of his life, cause rest in peace, get left in deep silence. Hush. Step in my way, you get crushed, you best dust. Or get burnt to a crust, you must. Wanna see Wige go sick and turn pyro? Scorch the page with a burnt pyro. The fireman, spit flame from my esophagus and diaphragm. Shit's blazing like it's phosphorus. It's your funeral, build your own pyre. Get left with your skull on fire like Ghost Rider.
This brother can spit in, I'm saying.
Nick was one of the first people in the country to do multi-syllable rapping very well.
He's got a real amazing ability to write in a way that just condenses the topic down into the most sweetest cherry.
I try and get to a point where it looks effortless and slick and smooth, but it comes through intense thought. I just get totally consumed by thinking about it.
Don't fight with us, cause we like to bust blatant. Light it up when we write the stuff blazing. Bite the dust when we light the touch paper and scorch them. Flame them, torch them, blaze them. It's hot now, get hard boiled in the pot now. Watch out, we're foiling your plot now. What? Blah! Bite the dust when we light the touch paper and scorch them. Flame them, torch them, blaze them.
The Essence was never really created as an album from scratch. What had been happening was I had been taking every single opportunity to get my music out there. And so I had a whole lot of different appearances, different records I'd been on. The plan was, well, how can I then have a body of work? We took some of the tracks that had been released on those vinyl releases and then some demos I had been working on. And then we also created some brand new stuff and pieced it all together to become that album. One of the things I'm really pleased about is how cohesive it feels. Crucial to that is the role that Mr. Thing played on the album. This is my DJ, who happens to be the best DJ in the world. And that is not a lie. Mr. Thing he's a brother to me. Like he's the godfather of one of my children.
I first got together with Nick through Harry Love. Harry introduced us. We just got on immediately. We had very similar taste in music, what we liked, what we wanted to achieve with it.
He is like the best DJ you'll ever hear and see. He's just incredible. He was always that, but I didn't really know about his production. And Harry told me, well, you've got to hear his beats as well, you'll love them.
I ended up doing a remix for the label Sugar Hill, and they paid me a nice amount of money, and with that money I bought a brand new 2000 XL MPC. My whole beat making went up a notch.
When I went to meet up with him, he just had tons of beats. Things like this, beat tapes like this of loads of your beats.
Yeah.
I have, those are yours.
No, what?
Yeah. I must have 100 of those beat CDs. Literally,
Yeah.
Every time we would, hang out and which would be multiple times a week, you'd be like, here's this, here's another 20 beats.
Listen to that in the car.
Yeah.
I was on 30 beats a week kind of making at the time.
Several of the beats that he played me the first time we met became some of the things that ended up on the Essence. I think Dancing Shoes would have been one of those.
Well, it's the twinkle-toed stepper with the itchiest feet. I've got the ants in my pants and a nifty physique. No plans for romance. I just want to find a chick who looks sweet and get down to a Mr. Thing beat.
Everyone has been saying to me today, I forgot how much you did on it. And I can't believe how much I did on it too. Intro and outro.
He did the single that led up to that album, and he also does skits that appear throughout the album. So it gives it a bit of a consistency that holds it all together.
I think I need a cup of tea. I think I need a cup of tea.
He was in need of someone to help add another element to his set. And then it was an opportunity for me to do a track or two as well. So we developed this setup where he would smash it with the DJ set. I would amp up the crowd and get things going. Then we'd do a little live set in the middle, and then we'd play more tunes afterwards. We could do a whole night that way, you know, we could go anywhere and have. China, Dubai, Russia.
I remember going to a festival with him in Barcelona. It was just brilliant.
I remember I was working at one of the tech giants, and I took Friday off work, and I went to the airport on Thursday, flew to Tokyo, did a show in Tokyo, did a show in Osaka the next day, and then was back for work on Monday.
Nah.
We've done so much stuff. We've done so many crazy things, the good and the bad, you know.
We need to go on stage in a minute. How do we get through that door? I think we've got to go round. Do you know how to get to the back bit? Well, how are we going to get on?
Spinal tap.
It is, isn't it? Spinal tap.
It gets down here and to the right and to the left.
You reckon it's through there?
We've done stuff and it's been a disaster, and we've done stuff and it's been brilliant, and I couldn't ask for a better person to do that with.
One of the great joys of my life, doing shows with Mr. Thing.
Okay, party people, are you with me? Are you ready? I don't believe you. Are you ready?
Performance-wise, we shared a lot of amazing moments.
Dark brown poisonous poets, we blow on the spot. Young gun superstars, yeah, you know we don't stop. How you love with the beats, yeah, we keeping it hot. We party people if you with us, say whoa. Hey yo, I'm out there, wanna beat up and dead MCs. I'm out there, checking for girls and spinning tunes. Yo, I'm out there, living the life, doing it my way. Every night's live, treat them all like a Friday.
I know I can rock a crowd if you just give me the crowd. He always stood out because his voice carried. Which is not easy when you've got a voice as bassy as his.
I just came out of school, there's enough girls on my case, but I was playing it cool. Matter of fact, one of them's ringing me now. I'm not answering no, I'm cooking curry while I'm charging my phone. And then I switch on the telly while I'm filling my belly. Yo, the porn tasted good, but now my fingers are smelly.
My main memories in like live rap terms, like you had to be there, Kung Fu at the Underworld, that was really special.
It was just a great time going to Kung Fu, Tuesday nights, you'd see everyone. It all just felt very collaborative. Everyone was working together. It was like, okay, let's go to shows together, let's do photo shoots together. There was the whole Pistache connection, bringing clothes and all of it together, and just kind of figuring out as we went along. I still do artist management today, so he was kind of where I got to sort of learn all my mistakes, really. He was on his secondment, maybe, at a law firm when we started working together.
It was, I mean, Nick's job while we were making the Essence just, it was unheard of, basically. It was just completely unheard of.
My whole career as an artist has been developed and has taken place side by side with my career as a lawyer. I've been doing both things the whole time.
Always as much driven on the music as he was on the law, and I never understood how he's able to do both. I still don't.
His job basically meant that we were really snatching time when we could to work.
At the junior end of it, you have a lot less autonomy. So I could be told by someone in my office, right, tonight, you're doing this, and the thing I need to do would mean I'd be there until like 3 in the morning. And if I had a gig or if I had a session or whatever else, it was like, I couldn't do it because I had to do that thing because that was my job. And it became quite challenging.
The people that didn't know him well would just call him like the law guy.
I remember like man saying, oh, yo, man, my man's a lawyer, but the thing is, being raised by an African father, I could understand. Education's everything when it comes to African people. I remember my dad even one time saying, oh, if you fail your GCSEs, you'll become homeless, you know what I'm saying?
Rappers would be like, bruv, like, my brethren got shanked, like, he got stabbed again, like, what should I do? Like, police are saying this, that. He's like, that's not really my area of law. And like, if you had a contract, of course you'd take it to him.
Often people say to me, what a weird combination to be a lawyer and to be a rapper as well. But to me, they're both focused on words and interpreting language and using language to create a desired effect.
A lot of us should have stayed at school, but we were too busy like trying to get it. You get me? And Nick is proof that, you know, you can get it, bruv. Just stick to your path.
It was just a bit different musically, super open-minded.
The Essence brought a different feel and different sound to the hip-hop scene in this country at that time.
It was probably more palatable for women to enjoy as well. It was a very male-heavy scene. What Nick did kind of made it a bit more mixed and a bit more fun.
There's a track, Push, which I did with Ben Grimm, amazing producer.
Push your foot down, push your hands up, push that volume button and keep it cranked up. Lighters, push them up, volume, push it up, hands in the air now, push them up, come on.
It's got a bouncy feel to it. It's not the deepest track I ever did. It was deliberately designed to be able to play in a club and in a live set and to flex muscles on a lyrical level.
It's that young gun, hell of a fella. Nothing changed, but the name's still as heavy as ever, but now it's wide. Essa, that live breader, keep the vibe better like fried chicken and nice weather.
Whenever I perform it to this day, 20 years on, and I see people starting to get into it, it still works. It's kind of banging,
His flow was always very crisp and clear. It was always clever, had humour to it. It was self-effacing as well as having the braggadocio, had both. He even rapped in Spanish a couple times.
Essa, siempre completamente pa' fuera, directamente en Inglaterra. I'm deep fella, profundo, vivo, bajo la tierra. I'm underground, straight from the cellar.
So around this time when I was studying law, I was also studying Spanish law. I would have lessons in Spanish. I heard a couple of Spanglish fusion tunes and it really inspired me and I was like, I need to give this a go.
He's very unique. I can't think of another person that could have written those tunes. But he can also do beautiful, just songs. Put you somewhere, like City Breaks and things like that.
City Breaks is one that really got me recognised. It was an odd track to kind of blow up in that way because it's a low-key, mellow tune about escaping the stress of day-to-day life.
I need to get a lot off my chest, cause there's a lot on my mind. I've got a girlfriend stressing me for quality time. I've got bills and checks that have gotta be signed, and I'll probably find they all drop at one time.
It doesn't sound like it would make for like a exciting rap record, but it really worked and people related to it. And I think it's the honesty and the realness. I find that when I listen to music, when people express something and I'm like, yeah, I feel that way sometimes. I just feel comforted by that.
In rap terms, he was completely different. This was before the days of Drake being able to like rap about his fucking feelings all the time, do you know what I mean?
So ride with me, vibe with me, spend a little time with me. So come and take a break from the city.
It's incredible. Some of the stuff that he does, I just sit there and I'm just like, how do you write like that? You can write rhyming words, but then there's layers and double entendres, and then there's bits where the story coalesces. You think it's there and there, but it's like, like what he does with Liquid Love, you know what I mean?
Liquid Love is one of the songs that I've made that people ask me about the most. It came from a very honest place. It's a love song, but it's a kind of bittersweet, heartbreak love song. There I was, feeling a little sorry for myself, and Harry, he used to call me and play me beats down the phone.
At the time of the recording, I went to Harry's to get a beat for myself. Nick was coming round to record Liquid Love, and then I heard the
I remember hearing the beginning of it and hearing this kind of haunting piano sound. It's kind of eerie and weird, and these hard drums.
Yeah. I'd been through flings, relationships, one-night stands, craziness, good times, bad times, had time and wasted it. I'd felt love rain down but never bathed in it. I'd let it graze my lips but never tasted it.
And then in comes this lush, beautiful set of voices. I was like, this is the most beautiful beat I've ever heard. This is ridiculous. It just brought the words out of me.
That's when I saw her, pure as a glass of spring water. And when she moved her lips, her voice would sing for her. I tried to ignore her, but I was mesmerized by the aura. Gliding towards her to absorb her. Dive in the water of beauty and wisdom, affection, truly an instant connection. But she was moving in a different direction. Flashed past my eyes like a distant reflection.
One of the things about that song that I'm proud of is the extended metaphor writing technique, where it's all referring to water and using that as an analogy and as a symbolism for the emotions we're talking about.
When he starts rapping about personal stuff and meaningful stuff, it has an earnestness and an honesty that is very rare.
A lot of the time I was like trying to work out how to rap about feelings, how to rap about my emotions and make it hard. And I think that was another thing that he stood out with.
He's doing stuff like with his work, and it just sounds easy because of how well presented and well put together and thought out it all is.
It's all coming back now, the water's flowing fast. I'm drinking from a newer glass, but you don't lose the past. Now I remember all the questions that I would have asked. Didn't she love me and what made her think we couldn't last? But I bit my tongue. Some questions don't really have answers, and I knew she couldn't give me none. I guess the cup ran over, fill it too quick, you spill it, hold a living thing too tight, you kill it. As she moved away, what I saw left me breathless. Was that my bracelet she wore on her left wrist? But I let her go. Still wonder if we could have been together though. I guess I'll never know.
Yeah. Had to do it.
I still make music today and still write today for the same reasons I always did. I'm so into creating and the creative act. It's kind of what I find fulfilling. I also had something to prove when I did the Essence. I wanted to be like, I'm one of the best. You know, I want to really make my mark. And I still feel that way now.
This is the beautiful thing, like I got to work with people who were experimenting and willing to experiment. Even if we were giving ourselves a hard time, oh, that's not good enough, is it? It's gold. It's gold, like at the most very bare minimum, golden.
There's so many special moments, but people don't understand the journey. It was always hard. I would do sale or return around the UK, like take 5 vinyls, 5 CDs to a fucking record shop and like sell them for £3 each to them, and then I come back and get the difference in a week. And just trudging through the rain for like £5.
I do this for a living now. Who would have thought that when I was in the room looking at Essa record Liquid Love?
I wouldn't change it, you know why? Because what we built together, like it transcended music. What we built was like a brotherhood.
We all come from nothing and we've all made something of our art or of ourselves. We did some shit, you get me? Like, it matters.
I just still desperate for the chance to make a song and put it out there and get people to hear it, maybe get on a stage and perform it. That is still something that fills me with excitement and joy in the same way as it did when I was a young man. So, you know, I'm still gonna do it.